Growing up in the Deep South, we didn't have the language or the experience to understand who we were as young, gay Black boys. Even in the early 2000s, there weren't comfortable spaces in our hometowns to build community with other LGBTQIA+ kids or to date without the fear of judgment. What we did have early in adolescence were dreams that went far beyond the limitations of what our hometowns could provide. This is not to say that we did not love the unique and rich traditions that came from being raised in Louisiana. However, what our Southern upbringing had an abundance of in culture, it lacked in perspectives, resources, and the safety we needed to live our truth at the time. There was something for both of us that was yearning to live life beyond the shadows of secrecy and to discover how to live our lives out loud. And to nurture that special something, we needed to be exposed to new perspectives and environments that supported the parts of us that were non-negotiables. We needed to get out like yesterday. Our small-town upbringings could have easily left us stuck in limited conversations and possibilities for our future. But both of us sowed seeds of tenacity that needed to grow. So we took what we loved from Louisiana and we leaped into a bigger life. In this chapter, we will begin peeling back the layers of both of our childhoods, the difficulties of being fully expressed at home and in our communities, and the decisions that led us to leave home and take on the adventure of growing from boys to men.
Jarius. The choice to leave my hometown was very simple for me. I grew up in a town where most of the people around me had little to no ambition. After high school graduation, most of my classmates started working the only jobs that were available, which were CNAs and cooks at the casino. It was the same story over and over again, and I honestly wanted no part of it. And when it came to the dating scene, it was full of recycled high school flings, pairs who sometimes couldn't even stand each other, but who got together anyway because there were literally no other options. I knew that if I didn't get out, I could see my life following that same pattern. Even at a young age, I believed that there was no way I was going to prosper any further within the confines of the 4,000 people in my hometown. I had to go out and find my way, even if that meant being uncomfortable in a brand new place where I did not know anyone. And there wasn't any way in hell that I was going to risk not making my dreams become a reality. Truthfully, I didn't even know exactly what I wanted to do when I grew up, but I knew I wanted to do amazing things, and I knew that if I didn't move away, I was never going to figure out my sexuality and discover what was going on with me internally. Now, before we get too deep in this story, I'd like to mention that there is absolutely nothing wrong with staying in your hometown. Hell, somebody has to live there, right? I just knew it wasn't for me, and that is also okay. Now that the disclaimer has been made and I don't have to worry about getting jumped when I go back home, let's continue with the story. In my quest to find myself, I grew interested in exploring guys romantically, but I couldn't explore that curiosity safely or without fear and judgment. I remember as early as elementary school that any boy who showed any traits that were remotely feminine was immediately bullied. So while everyone around me was paging through the yearbook for their potential spouse, homophobia in my hometown required me to move in secrecy and suppress whatever feelings I might have been experiencing for guys. My path to understanding my sexuality was especially complicated, particularly when it came to my mom. My mother tussled with her sexuality throughout most of my childhood. She dated women privately for the same reasons, fear of judgment. My family didn't really talk about things that disrupted their worldview, so it became so hush-hush that I felt like I had to hide. The more I saw my mom dating or hanging out with women, the more I felt like I was holding on to this huge secret for her. When my mom was out on a date, I always felt like I had to come up with the lie about where she was when my grandmother called to check on me. There were other times when my mother would bring me with her when she was dating someone in another town or when she was visiting someone on the weekend. This was short-lived because I never liked any of the women she dated. There were more than a few times when she got into physical altercations with the women she was dating, and I found myself caught in the middle. Even though I always felt like she could have chosen a better partner to be with, I surely wasn't about to let nobody take down my mama.